Absent. Ms. Gresham,
Present.
Ms. Perez,
Present.
Mr. Collins,
Present.
Mayor Sarno.
Present. Is there a motion on the floor to go into executive session? Sure, I'll make a motion that we enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, because discussion in open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the school committee. Number one. Number two, to discuss strategy with respect to SEA collective bargaining, because discussion in open session may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the school committee. And for number three, to discuss strategy with respect to AFSCME school clerks, collective bargaining, because discussion in open session may have detrimental effect on the bargaining position for the school committee. The school committee will return to open session, and the executive session will be recorded. Thank you. Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Second, please.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor, absent. Attorney Murphy, absent. Ms. Hurst, absent. Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, board is sufficient vote, this matter passes. And Barbara, I hope your knee's doing better too. We'll go into executive session and come back in
Thank you.
regular session. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, I want to thank Focus Springfield. I don't know if it's host Sway or Brendan. Thank you very much. Are we on right now? Okay, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Naylor,
Present.
Attorney Murphy,
Present.
Ms. Hurst,
Present.
Ms. Gresham,
Present.
Ms. Perez,
Present.
Mr. Collins,
Here.
Mayor Sarno.
President, can we all please rise for a moment of silence and we'll go into the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you and your families are doing well and good health. I'm sorry we're a little late. We're just finishing executive session, and I'd like to thank Superintendent Warwick and School Department administration, the principals, and city side Pat Sullivan. We had a fantastic graduation season. It was really very heartfelt. And a special shout out to school committee men and Attorney Peter Murphy. Very special for him having Liam and Claire graduating from Central High School this year. But it was well done.
Thank you, Mayor.
With
Thank
the COVID-19, and we'll be back to Symphony Hall, God willing, next year. So thank you very much. We'll go to approval of the minutes. Approve the minutes of May 13th and May 27th, 2021 regular session meetings, and the May 24th and June 8th, 2021 special meetings. If there's any questions or comments.
Move we accept.
Motion made by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Perez. Due to Zoom meeting requirements, roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Thank you very much. We're going to now move to voting items. Approve, this is A, to approve the July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021 collective bargaining agreement between the Springfield Public Schools and the Springfield Education Association, SEA. And this, Superintendent Warwick, if you want to just briefly explain.
Sure. This contract is a four-year contract, a 1 and a 3. So A is the 1 year, B is the 3 year. This has been ratified by the union with 97% of the vote in the union approving it. It's a very good agreement. We talked about it at length in executive session, but very, very positive. So I'm recommending approval.
Thank you, Superintendent Warwick. And again, yeoman work done on everybody's congratulations on that, and runs continued continuity and advancement of our school system with our dedicated teachers on. I don't know if any school committee members have any comments before we entertain a motion. And I believe that Madam Clerk, I think you, Ms. Hurst is going, has to recuse on this too. I think you already noted it, just for the record. Any other questions or comments?
Just a comment, general comment that applies to both of these. I think it's great to have this settled at this point in the year, so the teachers go out to summer, and it's a morale booster to have it done.
I know a lot were during the graduation voiced that. They were very appreciative of the administration, school side, city side, and the school committee for this. And it's fair. It was very fair and good. Any other questions or comments?
I move we approve the July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021 agreement.
Thank you. Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second.
Second by Attorney Peter Murphy. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst recused, Ms.
Abstain.
Gresham. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
That's okay,
Say, I'm
Patty.
sorry.
No worries. No
My
worries.
fault. I used the wrong term, Denise.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes, this matter passes. Thank you very much. B now is to approve the second part of it, of the four-year deal.
I move we approve the July 1, 2021 through June 30 of 2024 collective bargain agreement.
And this again is with the SCA, the teachers. Motion, if there's no discussion or comments, motion made by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst abstained, Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes, this matter passes. Thank you very much. We have C and D,
Which
but
we have to table.
we have to table, and we're very hopeful if we have, we'll call a
Yeah.
special meeting on
We
that
just haven't had a chance to ratify.
to ratify, but we, once it is, we will call a special meeting pertaining to the, school clerk. So C and D are tabled for right now.
Just a
Go ahead.
question on that, for the attorney. Could we vote subject to the ratification and that thereby not having to have another meeting?
I don't. Attorney Phelps?
My concern is that you don't know the terms of the,
Oh, we went over all the terms.
We went over all the terms of the agreement. We're waiting for a ratification vote. My motion would be that we approve the contract as presented, subject to the ratification. They can't change it in a ratification vote.
Right.
Yeah, they
So-
just couldn't get everybody together, Attorney Phelps,
right.
by
So-
by the time frame of the meeting, our meeting.
So my concern then is, what will you reference as the terms? Because typically it would be a document outlining the terms. Because it's not yet ratified, or perhaps there isn't, I guess, the question I would have is the concern regarding it's a public document. Are you prepared to have those terms be a public document by your vote in open session?
It's on this agenda. Does that make it already a public document? It's on this agenda with the terms listed.
Was it circulated as a public document to the school committee members in advance of the meeting?
Yes,
Then it
yeah,
already
and it
is.
was posted on our website.
So any document that's utilized by the school committee as part of an open meeting is a public record.
If I may,
Ms. Gresham had a question, go ahead, yep.
no, I have a comment. I would not feel comfortable voting on something in advance.
Okay.
Not a
It
problem.
was just an option, Barbara, I think, but as I indicated in the executive session, we need to be prepared. It'd probably be a short meeting. We'd have to call a special
Yes.
once they're able
Yeah.
to ratify, which I believe they'll do in a
Yeah.
very, very, very near future. So if the school committee doesn't feel comfortable, that's why, it was just an option the vice chair was throwing
Yeah,
out.
I'm fine. If anybody has an objection, I'm fine to not doing it. I just thought I would give it an option. If anybody objects, I'm fine with us waiting
And
and having
thanks for
another.
clarifying, Attorney Phelps.
So I do have an additional question, and that is there a tentative agreement? That is the fact that the bargaining representatives have tentatively agreed. We're just waiting
Yeah,
for the.
Yes, there was a
full
TA,
There
members.
was a TA.
It was a TA, yeah,
No.
yeah.
There was a TA.
Okay, so again, to address Ms. Gresham's concern, Ms. Gresham, with a tentative agreement, those terms are specified and identified. But I don't know if that allays your concerns.
No, I still just don't feel comfortable.
I withdraw the question and the motion, Barbara. If you're uncomfortable with it, I'm fine with it. We'll just hold a quick meeting later on after they've ratified. I'm good with that.
If that's the will of the school committee, that's the way we'll proceed, and as soon as we get word that they've officially ratified the contract, we'll call a special and,
So then I'll make a motion that we table items C and D to a future meeting.
Okay, because it's a Zoom meeting, again, there's a motion on the floor to table agenda items C and D. Is there a second, please? Well, motion by Vice Chair Collins, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, Board of Sufficient votes, this matter passes. Thank you, school committee members, and thank you for the conversation, just to clarify. That was good points made. We'll now move to item E. We're going to have a slew of high school diplomas being awarded, and E is to approve City of Springfield High School Diploma for Keyshawn Bosman, Superintendent Warwick.
Yeah, recommend approval. Yolanda has approved it, looked at the transcripts. All of the students involved from E through Q have gone to private day schools, completed all of our requirements. Yolanda, Dr. Johnson has reviewed it, and they qualify for a high school diploma because they've met all the competency determinations. So I recommend approval.
Thank you. Stefania, Ms. Rochelle, I see your hand up. I don't know if you had a question prior. I just noticed it, or just the hand is up to say hello.
I think it's an accident. So I need to figure out to take it off.
Okay, just double checking. Is there a motion on the floor?
I move we approve the high school diploma for Keyshawn Bozeman.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes. This matter passes. Keyshawn, congratulations. F again is to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Esquiel. I'm saying that wrong there. Matos. Oh no, Esquiel Matos. I apologize if I pronounced it wrong. If anybody viewing, and especially to the individual in the frame, I apologize. Is there a motion on the floor from?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Perez. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, and I think it's Ezekiel. That's what it is. I got it right now. Congratulations on that. G is to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Jaslyn B. Dustin. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins, or second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes. This matter passes. Congratulations, Ms. Dunstan. H is to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Henry's D. Henry. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Latonia, you're mute.
There she is.
Ms.
Ms.
Naylor,
Sorry. Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes. This matter passes. Congratulations, Henrice. I is to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Nevia Cruz.
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Navia, congratulations on that. Again, I apologize on the prior pronunciation. J is to approve the City of Springfield High School diploma for Sergio Consiglio.
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Attorney Murphy. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Sergio, congratulations. K is to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Jordan Torres. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Perez. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
You're mute, Maria. Ms. Perez?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Jordan, congratulations. L is to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Carmelo, Kies. I apologize.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Motion by Vice Chair Collins, is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second by Ms. Gresham? Roll call vote is required. Kies, that's right, with the Q is a hard Q.
Ms. Naylor,
Call the
Yes.
roll, Madam.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Carmelo, congratulations. M is to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Jacinia N. Garcia Claudio. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins, a second, please.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Congratulations, Jacinia. N is to approve City of Springfield High School diploma for Lysandra Maria Tavares.
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Congratulations, Lysandra. O is to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Alexis M. Hill. Motion, please.
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second.
Second by Attorney Peter Murphy. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Alexis, congratulations. P is to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Jaheim P. McMillan. Motion, please.
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Attorney Peter Murphy. A roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, Board of Supervisors votes this matter passes. Congratulations, Jaheen. Accused to approve a City of Springfield High School diploma for Justin Santos. Motion, please.
So moved.
So, a motion by Vice Chair Collins, or second, please.
second,
Second by Ms. Perez. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
yes,
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
yes,
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, Board of Supervisors votes this matter passes. Congratulations, Mr. Santos. R is to approve of visual performing arts courses, Vocals 1, Vocals 2, Vocals 3 honors, and senior musicianship honors. I know Julie Jaron is on, and Superintendent Warwick, please.
Yeah, exactly. Julie's here to give us a quick presentation. I think there's some staff members on also. These are for courses at the Conservatory of the Arts that would specialize for those students. So Julie, if you could give us a brief overview. This has also been presented earlier and voted on by the subcommittee under Denise Hurst.
Thank you, Superintendent Warwick. Ms. Jaron, Julie, please.
Sure. Thank you for this opportunity to speak about the proposed vocals courses. This innovative proposal for the sequential coursework, starting with Vocals 1 and concluding with senior musicianship, focuses on solo vocal performance. The content of this course progression differs dramatically from traditional choral ensemble work because of the individualized vocal coaching model that will be used. In a traditional choral ensemble program, the goal is to achieve an excellent blended choral sound. However, the vocals course will provide individualized instruction, coaching, and feedback for the purpose of solo vocal performance while still offering opportunities to develop small ensemble skills. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration of this course proposal.
Thank you, Ms. Jaron. Any questions or comments from school committee members? Hearing none, is there,
I didn't know if Denise wanted to speak that it came out of the curriculum and program.
Ms. Hurst, I'm sorry.
No worries, absolutely. Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Superintendent. It did come out of subcommittee favorably, and we had, I think it was, I'm sorry, it was Julie who talked to us about the course, adding the courses, and we thought it would be great for the students and to help continue to build up the offerings that the conservatory has.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Is there any questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
So moved.
So
Motion by Ms. Hurst, and
Second.
second by Vice Chair Collins. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
yes,
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
yes,
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, Board of Supervisors votes this matter passes. We'll move to S on the agenda, approve visual performing arts courses. This is the community action through the arts. The acronym is CATA, C-A-T-T-A, and you have CATA 1, CATA 2, CATA 3, CATA IVST. Superintendent Warwick, with all these acronyms, and Julie Jaron, please get me out of my acronyms here.
Well, we kill people with acronyms in education, so we always come up with an acronym. So if you're not confused, if you're completely confused. But Tom Rochelle is going to present this with Julie. So Tom is here.
Mr. Rochelle, thank you.
Oh, Julie, can you begin on this one?
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for providing the opportunity to speak about the proposed course, Community Action Through the Arts, also known by its wonderful acronym, CATA. CATA is a sequential course examining issues of social justice and activism. Students will explore theories behind community-based learning and institutional engagement, identify social issues that impact our community, devise plans to address those issues, and examine and create artwork to impact social change. The culminating coursework includes 15 hours of community service with local organizations. Thank you so much for your consideration of this unique coursework that highlights both social studies and visual and performing arts standards using a student-centered model.
Thank you, Julie. I mean, take away the acronym, it's a very good, outstanding program.
Absolutely.
CATA.
This also came through curriculum programs with Denise Hurst.
I will go to Ms. Hurst if she wants the CATA about CATA.
No, this was, this also was we were happy to support this coming out of the subcommittee as well. It was a great presentation that was given to us, a thorough presentation that was given to us, and just happy to see that we're expanding the course offerings for our students. Thank you.
And
Julie.
if I may.
Oh, I'm
add
sorry.
too- Thank you.
Ms. Gresham, go ahead.
The testimonies from the students was really good too.
Mhm.
It was very good presentation.
It was.
Thank you, Ms. Gresham. Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Any other questions or comments?
It sounds like we're building the next cadre of people to do murals around the city, which have been beautiful, all the ones that are done. Sounds like we're building future muralists then. Sounds great.
Now, you notice Vice Chair said cadre, CATA, so we're on the roll with the C's here. So any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gresham. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, board is official votes, matter passes. Thank you very much. T is to approve an expenditure of $153,437 from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education for the FY21 Acceleration Academies Grant. Superintendent Ward, please.
Yeah, we have Matt Brunel from the
Yeah.
Springfield Empowerment Zone Board here to present on this. Matt, if you could give us a brief presentation, and it's been through subcommittee as well.
Good to see you, Mr. Brunel. Good to see you, Matt.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Chair Collins, members of the Springfield School Committee, Superintendent Warwick. So pleased tonight to be able to be presenting this for your consideration. This grant will be able to support the work that we're about to take on this summer, which is to put all of our efforts and the efforts of our educators into grappling with a lot of the challenges that are going to be presented before us in terms of the need to accelerate the student learning as well as to increase student engagement. These funds very specifically are going to be used to support our ability to recruit and to pay for educators to run our summer program, a summer program which is going to be far more extended in terms of duration, as well as extended in terms of the number of students served this summer. So we're grateful for your consideration of this expenditure.
Thank you, Mr. Brunel. Thanks, Matt. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion on the floor, please?
Move we approve?
Motion by Vice Chair Collins, is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, board is sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you. U is to approve the reorganization of legal services. Superintendent Ward, please.
Yeah, this came through the Budget and Finance Subcommittee. I don't know if
Vice Chair Collins,
Vice Chair
any
Collins
comments?
wants to speak to it.
Why don't, is Pat Roach on? He could run through the documents that were sent out for folks to look at.
Mr. Roach, please. Pat?
Patty, do you have the document we can share?
I can look it up for you.
Excellent.
Thanks, Patty.
So last year during a finance subcommittee, when we were looking at the trend on legal services that had been going up significantly over the past 5 to 7 years, the finance subcommittee asked me to go do an analysis to see if it would be cheaper to bring legal services in-house. So we did an analysis on what would happen if we replaced our outside legal services with in-house legal services. And what we were able to determine is that we'll save about $324,000 if we bring services in-house. So what Patty is sharing on the screen is the analysis. If you take the two contracts up top, the $523,000 from Bulkley Richardson and the $175,000 that went to the Labor Relations Department, and we instead replaced that with an attorney and a paralegal. The fringe benefits for those positions, still having some money for specialized legal services if there was a special case that we needed to bring somebody in with that expertise, some general office supplies. And Patty, if you scroll down a touch more, you'll see the savings is $324,000. And I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, I have a few, Mayor.
Yes, Ms. Hurst?
So, Mr. Roach, so we're proposing one attorney and one paralegal to handle both school committee and district work?
Yes.
And so does that not, how might that be possible, right? Considering that currently we have Attorney Phelps, Attorney Kennedy, we use the city side for labor, and then we also contract additional attorneys that help us on some special ed or some other special unique cases. How could we realistically decrease our bandwidth and capacity like that?
We would have both of those staff members fully dedicated to us. Right now, it seems like Melinda and Mary Jo are dedicated to us because of the great work they do, but they are part-time and they have many other clients. And we're only bringing them in. We're paying significant hourly rate for outside legal services, but we only bring them in when we need those legal services. This would allow us to have full-time staff members available to do that work at all times. And even with putting $90,000 for specialized legal services, meaning that if we had some sort of, we needed to bring in some sort of expertise, we would be able to hire outside counsel for that.
So we're going to take the labor piece away. We're going to bring that in-house and take that away from the city.
Yes.
Can we talk about what the reporting structure is? Who would they report to? Would this be the school committee's council, or is this the school district's council?
This was discussed in finance subcommittee. I'm gonna, I think Chris Collins can answer that the best.
It's an excellent question, Denise, because that's right now, that's exactly how it works. And I did consultation also with Glenn Kuchar. Clearly, the council would be the school committee's council and would also do the department's work. So they would answer to, right now, like Bulkley Richardson answers to both the school committee and works directly with the department. It would remain the same. That being so, that means that and as I went through the whole thing with Glenn, that when we come to a candidate, once we advertise and we get to a candidate, the school committee would need to interview and see if that's the attorney that they want to hire, because they will answer still to the school committee as well as do the work assigned by the department the way that currently goes with Bulkley Richardson now. So the authority would remain the same, and school committee would still need to have full access to the council because they are our legal counsel.
And so on a daily basis, who would they be reporting to? Because currently, Attorney Phelps and Attorney Kennedy are independent, very similar to when Melissa Shea was our attorney. She came out of a firm. So if these two people get hired through the district, are they employees of the district and employees of the superintendent, or are they our employee?
The paralegal would be an employee of the district, would answer to the legal counsel. The legal counsel would answer to both the school committee and handle day-to-day operations for the department on behalf of the school committee and the department. That similar to the way both Melinda and Mary Jo do now, the department will say, we need you to review this, or the school committee will say. So they answer, the attorney would answer to both this body, and as far as day-to-day operations would work with the superintendent. But they are the school committee's lawyer. That's what it's intended to be.
Do we have any rules? Do we have any rules around how we use our legal services, or would we create or develop any as to how this would work? And I say that because I too sought some guidance from Glenn Kuchar, and one of the things that he made mention, because there's only three to four districts in the Commonwealth who are utilizing this model, that it is extremely imperative that it be very clear about who it is that's doing the hiring, the vetting, who it is that they're reporting to. And because my concern is that we don't have independent representation.
The hiring clearly, and I agree with you that that's exactly what Glenn said, the hiring needs to be done by the school committee, because we are the hiring authority for the attorney. Like with the assistant superintendent, applications would go into the department, they'd screen it down to some finalists, and then a finalist would come to the school committee, but it is a school committee hire, absolutely.
We don't oversee the assistant superintendent. We don't vote on that. That's a recommendation from the superintendent.
Correct. It's a recommendation, but this would be, pardon me?
The CFO.
You're right. CFO and the assistant come as a recommendation from the superintendent. This would be paring down to a finalist or two, or however it comes down to, and then the school committee would make the choice. So their authority, they answer to the school committee. We did have rules internally, as when we first got, in order to control some of the legal costs, that we had principals going directly to the lawyers early on, and that was driving the billable hours way out of control. And so internally, they built some controls where it first had to go through, I don't know, was it the CSOs or ultimately through the superintendent before it could go to the attorneys in order to pare that down. So in those pieces would work similarly, but the lawyer would be the school committee's lawyer and answer to the school committee.
May I ask a follow-up question? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Ms. Hurst, you have the floor. You have the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to ask the question of, when we did that cost analysis, did we also do an analysis of what it would cost for us to go with a firm that specializes in representing school committees? So like the Council on School Committee, I'm sorry, the Association of School Committee Council.
My analysis, the question I was asked was, would it be cheaper to bring in-house? So that was what I did for an analysis.
Denise, what do you mean? The school committee councils, is that a firm?
So COSA is the Council of School Committee Attorneys. My apology. It was COSA is the Council of School Committee Attorneys. And so I forget, and I don't know if Attorney Shea is on, but I forget which firm she came from, but you have your Sullivan, Hayes and Quinns. You have specific firms that specialize in representing school committees. And I am wondering what those numbers are, so that if we're going to vote on doing something like this, we're fully informed and have several options in front of us.
I think if you read through the job descriptions that were sent, in the requirements for the job, it was carried those certifications and it carried that experience in representing school committees was one of the things that you were going to have in order to make it into as a finalist. That was, that's why we all had the job descriptions to look at. So you wouldn't be just getting somebody who never did any school law or didn't have any background in representing school committees.
That's fine, but do we know what the numbers are for going with a firm? Do we know what the cost analysis is for going with a firm? So we know what it is to bring it in-house. Do we know what it is if we went with an actual firm?
So if I were to look at that analysis, I would probably just compare hourly rates, because you would assume that the hours would be exactly the same. So if they had I wouldn't think there would be a significant difference in hourly rates to generate a savings this large.
Unless you hired a Boston law firm and their hourly rate is definitely higher than it is locally. But that's what we're doing now, is we're doing it through a firm.
Yeah, we're doing billable.
That's what we're doing right now.
Staying the same.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments from Ms. Hurst?
I think Latonia had a question.
I saw Ms. Gresham's hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Gresham?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So why is this coming up? Is it to save money? Is that why we're doing this? I don't understand.
To save money and get more hours of legal counsel available to us and to generate savings in money. As Pat said, neither one of those two attorneys spend their entire day working on school department work. They only spend part of their day. This person would be dedicated to only our department and the school committee itself.
So maybe they want to come on full time.
Who?
The ones that we have, Attorney Phelps and Attorney Kennedy.
I don't know whether they might apply once we post a job. But right now we have a contract with their firm, not with them. We have a contract with the firm.
Will there be I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead, Denise. Go ahead. No problem.
I'm sorry. I've been waiting.
No, I was speaking out of turn. I'm sorry. I forgot that there. Please.
Can I go to Ms. Naylor then? She hasn't spoken yet on the subject, and then I'll go to Ms. Hurst. Ms. Naylor, please.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. One of them being for continuity's sake or succession planning. We know that Attorney Phelps is retiring at some point in the near future, and she has been with us for some time and doing the bulk of it, even though we've had Attorney Kennedy, but we've mostly seen Attorney Phelps. And so I wonder, what does succession planning look like for the school committee as far as the different cases and just the experiential knowledge that she has had from working with us for so many years? What does that look like moving forward? And then I also had a question. I'm going to ask that question first, and then I have another question that's a little different.
Okay. I have not heard that Attorney Phelps is retiring. I mean, certainly if she was retiring from the firm, we would have to have, you're right, have some type of a plan to move forward. But I haven't heard that she's retiring.
Well, we were in a subcommittee meeting, which was public, and she did mention that. She didn't give a date, but she did mention that at some point in the future. So that's the only reason why I'm bringing it up now. And so my thought process is, of concern that, even if we decide to bring somebody on board or stick with going with another firm, I'm kind of wondering, what does that look like for us in general as far as legal counsel?
I agree with you. There would have to be certainly a period where succession where I agree with you, Attorney Phelps did the bulk of our work, would have to spend some time updating whomever the attorney becomes and get them up to speed as to where we are. Yes, I agree that's something we'd have to look at.
Okay, and then the other question is around the hiring of this individual. I know you stated that we would be able to review the finalists. My question is, yes, we do have a draft of a position description, but will we be able to and I'm assuming we should be able to weigh in on what those things are that we might think are important as far as this person that we hire, especially if they're going to report to us. One of those things would definitely be looking at diversity and looking at, making sure that we are in fact widening the pool to be able to possibly have a person of color in the legal counsel role or in legal staff. And so that would be something that I would absolutely want to comment on and have say so in. And then also, I don't know if I feel comfortable just saying that, this person, we're going to have two options. So I just want to make sure that we are a little bit more involved than being able to say yay or nay on two people that get put before us.
So no.
May,
Ms. Hurst?
sure. Does anybody else want to go before me? No.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, Maria.
All right, Ms. Perez, then I'll go back to Ms. Hurst. Ms. Perez?
and this is more directly to Pat Roach. So you started at the beginning saying that we were gonna save X amount of money by going by this venue is what you're telling us. And if this is on a yearly basis, or could you re-explain that, please?
Yes, by hiring 2 attorneys in-house and putting some money aside for specialized services, we would save $324,000 a year. That would be annually, so every single year.
Just to clarify, 1 attorney and a paralegal.
Two positions, 1 attorney and a paralegal.
I apologize if I misspoke.
Yeah.
To 1 attorney and a paralegal, and then you have
Right.
set aside money if we are in need to hire someone else.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Hurst?
Thank you, Mayor. So, do we have an idea of what we pay in specialized services now? And do we have a roundabout figure of what that would be? Because we're saying that we're potentially there's gonna be a cost savings of 300 plus or more, but that is not necessarily the fixed number because it's very possible that we're gonna have to contract and pay. Right, out of those 300, out of that 300,000.
Sorry,
No, that's okay.
I believe I overestimated with the 90,000. I think the savings is going to be significantly higher. I truly believe it's going to be closer to 30 or 40,000 that we spend in specialized services, and that most of that, that the 90,000 is significantly higher than what we're going to need. I wanted to overestimate just so that we weren't coming back to you at this time next year, asking you to increase the budget and making it look like we missed something, because there was such a significant savings. The current specialized legal services that we have is the Bulkley-Richardson contract and the labor relations contract. That is our specialized legal services. So what we would be wanting to do is bring those attorneys in-house. Bulkley-Richardson in their firm, when we had the cybersecurity attack, they had a different attorney on staff that we were able to work with who specialized in cybersecurity legal issues. And so that would be an example of something where we may want to hire somebody for a small, short period of time to have them come in that they've had significant experience in that area, that they would be able to provide that outside expertise.
So can I ask a question about the process? Because I just heard LaTonya mention, or Mrs. Naylor mention, the 2 candidates. Where did we, or how did we come up with that number?
I don't think we've set an exact number. I was referring back to when we did the assistant, we just got a recommendation. Clearly, I don't know how many we would interview. I mean, typically, when you get to school, like when you're hiring a superintendent, it's pared down to, think Springfield has seen 3, sometimes 4, but usually it's a smaller number of finalists that you then interview.
So what's the process going to be, Vice Chair Collins? What are we going to do it similar to a superintendent search? How are we going to be involved? right? Because if this is our hire, then are we going to vet the applications with some, special guidance from HR? Are we going to vote on it in public session? Like, how are we going to be involved with this new hire that we have, since there is no precedent for this?
Similar to a superintendent search, I think the first thing that would happen would be HR would look at all the applications come in and push to decide any of the ones that don't meet the minimum qualifications. And then there need to be a process to take the ones that meet the minimum qualifications, probably a subcommittee or a committee like we had when we did superintendent search, which might have a school committee or two on it, but certainly not a quorum, and other people, to pare that down to some finalists that then go to the school committee. That's how the superintendent search was done. I would anticipate HR would eliminate anybody who doesn't do it, doesn't meet the minimum, and then we would create that working group that would then pare those down and say, here's the ones that the school committee ought to interview.
Would we not have, when are we looking to do this?
It
For the
starts
new
with
fiscal year?
It would be this fiscal year. Now, are we going to be ready to hit the ground running July 1? No, obviously we don't have time enough to do. We haven't advertised yet, and we couldn't advertise until we decided that we wanted to advertise. So I would think we could get the work done in July, depending upon how long a window you give people to apply, which is typically, and Melissa, tell me if I'm wrong, it's 10 days, sometimes 15. Is that a typical time that you let people apply?
Yes, it is.
I think that it's really important that we have a concrete process for how we're going to do this. My fear is that we're going to vote on this and then decisions are going to be made and we're not going to have a say as to what happens and how we're involved in the hiring of a really critical position. So I think I'm not opposed to it, but I want to make sure that we're involved every step of the way, especially because this person is going to report to us, and that is made very clear throughout the process.
I agree.
Oh, Mr. Mayor?
Ms. Perez, if Ms. Hurst is done, Ms. Perez?
I am, thank you, Mayor.
So could this condition be part of the condition when we vote tonight?
Well, I think the process was laid out.
Well, if I'm hearing Mrs. Hurst correctly, she is saying, what would the screening committee look like? And we want to make sure that school committee is represented in that screening committee. In a superintendent search, go ahead.
It should be just a school committee.
No, you finish. I'm sorry.
In the superintendent search, we really didn't get into the pre-screening committee, but I agree with you that this is such a vital position that once we get beyond the people who actually meet it, there should be some involvement in the screening to determine the finalists from the school committee.
So yes, I do agree, or I believe that there should be representation of a school committee member or school committee members on that initial screening process. And I also believe that the full school committee should vote on the person that gets identified as the potential counsel for the school committee.
Oh, that's absolutely got to be a full school committee. Oh, it's a school committee hire.
That would be the end result as far as that. But it is school committee, so it should be school committee review.
You know, in order for us not to be in conflict, and I'm hearing Denise's concern very strongly, I would think, Melissa, a screening committee to help get us down to some finalists of Melissa, obviously,
Subcommittee.
and maybe Eddie Pakula, if mayor, if we could call and ask the city to have, and a school committee person in there, so that we've got some people who work in the field who might be helpful to us.
Is there a subcommittee that this would?
If your subcommittees have to be public meetings, that's, you don't want to make it a subcommittee.
Yeah, so that clarifies, I know that question was gonna come up, so you have the, school committee members and the expertise of, legal. Again, this is a very specialized position because with the challenges or suits we receive on the school side are numerous at times, so.
And in hiring like this, you can keep it private up until the point that you get to finals.
Two or three finals.
So you get to whatever you can keep it private up until then. As a matter of fact, you don't get a lot of applicants if you don't.
Why would we call on Solicitor Pakula? Why can't we ask the Council of School Attorneys or someone from the MASC?
I just suggested them being a local person. I could call and, I guess we could, or we could have Glenn Kuchar, or, we could have somebody. I just thought we had, I only mentioned Ed Pakula because he runs basically a law firm.
Council, and we work hand in hand with many.
But I'm open to suggestions on who should serve on it.
School department.
So I think that that's the piece of the process that is missing, right? Like when we say that it's laid out, I don't think that it's completely laid out, right? Because we have some questions and then, we're open to some suggestions. I think it needs to be a really concretely laid out process. Like these are our steps. This is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to happen, as transparent as possible.
Mayor, could I?
Attorney Murphy, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm open to whatever the process is that is appropriate. I think there certainly are a lot of talented attorneys out there that are perfectly qualified to perform this position that have a lot of experience in school law and representing school committees. And an organization of our size, as you know, our budget went over $500 million this year. To me, it makes a lot of sense to have a full-time attorney and a paralegal and the resources that, as outlined by Mr. Roach, the extra $90,000 for outside special contracts or legal work that perhaps the person cannot, something is always going to come up. The amount of money that are projected as savings, and I would suggest are conservatively projected, I think that we really are obligated. I think we have a fiduciary obligation to look very closely at this, because it's our job to save people money, the people that we serve. And if we can save $360,000 or $400,000 and get potentially better and more and I don't mean it that way, cheaper, I suppose I should say, or less expensive, and essentially the same type of competent representation, I think we absolutely have to explore that. And I think it's our job to do that. And I suppose we could put up hurdles, but we certainly could, it's not the first time school committee's hired an attorney. We certainly can all be, to the extent we want to be involved in the process, vet the candidates, have public hearings, be transparent, all of those things. Certainly, I think we all agree with that. So I'm certainly in support of the concept. I think it saves us money. It gets us potentially legal representation from someone who is qualified in this area. I'm sure there would be lots of candidates, both local and around the state, that would be interested in this position. So I certainly think it's something that we owe it to our constituents to look at. And again, it is true that in the years ago, I don't know if you remember Brian McCook.
Brian McCook. I was just going to bring that up. That was a school.
Right. He was a full-time lawyer, for the school committee, and he did the labor relations, and he did other labor related litigation. And you know, he retired, and that sort of spun off. And you know, he was somebody who was very accessible. I know that a lot of the principals, a lot of the administrators, a lot of school committee members could, you know, he was very accessible. He was always there. He had an office, you know, in the school department, and, you know, was there 40 hours or more a week. So I think it's certainly something that we should take a strong look at, and is a model that clearly has worked in the past so far as accessibility. So, thank you very much, Mayor.
Okay, that, I just wanted to clarify that point. That was pre-ed reform of '93, because I remember Brian McCook during my days with Mayor Mary Hurley. So that was pre-ed reform too, just for a clarifying point. But the point is, the attorney, he or she, would be completely dedicated to the school committee or school district. And again, with the legal hurdles or challenges we face or suits we face, that, you know, that's the reasoning. So I think it's just about the process.
It was a full-time counsel with support as needed back then. So.
And a screening committee, I think it should be definitely a school committee person be sitting on it. I think Melissa should sit on it. And the only reason I threw out Ed Pakula, I thought it should be somebody who's not within the school department, the third person, somebody who works in, I don't know, in an agency or something similar, who's done similar work.
Well, you do that, or you sit the school or the school committee association or whatever.
Association of School Committees?
But three, school committee member, HR, so you cross the T's and dot the I's, and then some legalese, whether it's we stay local or not, and that would be the process.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the indulgence school committee.
Yeah. And the finalists go to the school committee.
Well, the finalists would have to, the final vote would have to come approval from the school committee. That's without question. That's without question.
Do we have an agency, a local agency that is private, not part of the school committee, that you could think of that could lend us some expertise on that? And I don't mean necessarily a legal firm. It could be somebody who does with HR. It could be someone who does with, you know, does all those different things.
Well, we pay dues to the MASC. Why wouldn't we use them?
Well, we could.
And I only say that because I do think that there is some value to not having somebody who's local, who has a different perspective, who you know, could lend an outside view.
No, I think we're saying the same thing. Having someone who's not connected to us is a good idea. Yeah. And we did use MASC when we did the superintendent search.
Right, I'm aware. Yeah. And so that is our association, right? Like they represent us. They have, you know, that is their expertise. Is
so
staffing
that's an
school committees.
Third person. Yeah, I'll be glad to contact Glenn and see what whether he'll do it himself or whether he has somebody who could sit in as part of the screening committee.
If I could ask, well, the superintendent work or Mr. Roach, Pat, those 3 or 4 districts that do it this way, is that similar how they have done, again, with the final vote coming from the school committee?
It's the school committee.
Is that how they would normally run, going back really to the old, you know, back to the future in a way, back to the old days? Is that how they did it, Pat? So
I apologize, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, the Chicopee did. Chicopee had a process, and they brought in legal counsel for the school committee and the department, same thing. They brought in 60%. Chicopee's a much smaller department than us, and they split the person with another very small district. I think it may be Ludlow or something like that. So they did it like that, and they went with a person that handles most of the issues for them. It's worked out very, very well. I talked to the past superintendent and the present superintendent. So it was, at the end of the day, it's a school committee vote on the hire. Right?
No, it's absolutely a school committee.
So you
I'm proposing a three-person
school committee member, he or she, HR backup, which would be Attorney Melissa Shea, and then using the Mass School.
Now, somebody from Mass Association, whether it's Glenn or somebody that he recommends.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
And how would the school committee member be picked here, whether if somebody wants to volunteer, or there's a process for the school committee member? I know that's the next question that's going to come up.
I would volunteer as vice chair. I would think that would be natural for me to sit on that, but.
Okay. So you have.
But let's just be mindful of what Latonia asked for, which was diversity and representation, and not just in the candidates, but I think in the actual vetting, the screening team.
Understand, again, with the vice chair, and you'd have HR with the screening team with individuals, he or she applying, if they don't meet the minimum criteria, that's, screening process, and then you would move forward those other applicants to the screening committee, and then eventually, whether it's 2 or 3, to the school committee.
Yeah.
And do it that way.
Mr. Mayor, could you repeat that?
You'd have, like with anything, you'd have the initial advertisement going on there with specifics of he or she, the qualifications for it. HR with HR, the school committee member or the vice chair, or not, in the Mass School Committee Association, the HR would either minimum qualifications would be ruled out right off the bat, and then you get the next batch. We would go to the review committee, the 3-member review committee, to move to look at, if I'm thinking of on the city side, then you move it 2 or 3 finalists, and that would go before the school committee for final vote authority to pick he or she. Melissa, you're the HR specialist. I mean, that's I know we've done on the city side.
So we're disregarding what Mrs. Naylor had suggested with diversity?
I'm not disregarding. You have the HR head is Melissa Shea, so you have that. Whatever the Mass School Committee Association representative there, Glenn recommends, and usually your vice chair, he or she would do that, or would appoint. I know on the city council days, whether it was council president or council president would appoint he or she if he or she didn't want to do it.
But we wouldn't be in violation if we added 2 school committee members. So if vice chair wants to serve, there's still an opportunity for 1 more person to serve. We have 4 women of color. If any one of them wanted to serve, and that would only be 2 members, so we wouldn't be in violation of open meeting law.
We wouldn't be in violation of that.
Nope,
Right,
we would
I'm
not.
saying, the odd, because if you go odd, usually it's an odd number, but if you want an odd number, Denise, you're right. If you want 3 school committee members, now that is a public meeting.
That's a
great idea.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Ms. Bradford.
If we go through that venue, then I'll feel comfortable voting on it tonight. And that was my next question I was gonna be asking for. Thank you, Denise, because that was what I was gonna be recommending. And I know the amount of money that Mr. Pat Roach demonstrated that we're gonna be saving. We are here to save money so we could implement services directly to our children, our students. So if that's the fact, I feel comfortable going that venue.
Maria, was that you volunteering to serve on the committee?
No. That's a clear no. I said that I feel comfortable by recommendation of Ms. Hirsch.
Is it the will of the school committee? I think we had the 3 HR with Attorney Melissa Shea, the vice chair, whoever he or she, the vice chair is, would have authority on that too. The Mass School Committee Association, which I believe everybody's agreement, and another school committee member. Is everybody's agreeable?
Specifically, one of the women on the committee.
Yeah, that's fine. If everybody's agreeable to that.
So I have a question, Mr. Mayor. So we're getting some direction from Glenn Kuchar as to how this is to be laid out?
You'd have a representative from that Mass Association of School Committees, whether it's Glenn or someone else.
Whether he'd do it or he'd have somebody from his office do it, we call him, he's the head of the organization, see what he thinks. But as Denise pointed out, that's who we used when we did the superintendent search, and they served us very well.
Yeah, we know about that, but my question is, will he give us direction as to the transparency of the process?
Sure, he would, as they gave direction on being as transparent as you can during a superintendent search. And again, until it gets, as far as, if you mean transparency about saying everybody who applied, typically that doesn't happen until the finalists.
The screening would be done on minimal, if you don't meet the minimal qualification, any position, that's where HR would screen out that point in time. Then the ones that meet the qualifications, he or she would then be moved to your committee for review. And then final vote from our school committee on he or she.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, if Ms. Gresham's done,
I'm done. Thank you.
So, yes, so when it comes, this is for the purpose of understanding the procedure. So let's say the HR will give us indication of the candidates, or be the HR with the review team. How would it?
HR would be part of the review, the four-member committee. The four-member committee, HR, which would be headed by Attorney Melissa Shea. Then you would have the Mass Association School Committees person on it, whether it's Glenn Kuchar or someone else. Then you would have two school committee members, one comprising of the vice chair and another school committee member from our school committee. And the ones that don't meet the minimum qualifications would already be screened out on specifics. It's going to be a very specific advertisement. Melissa, am I correct? This is very highly specialized. And then who meets, he or she, or the number that meets would go to your committee for review. And then at that point in time, I believe you can kick out of that committee if you want 2 or usually 3 finalists that would go before the school committee for a final vote.
So I guess my question is that the HR will be responsible directly to screening out the applicants and then recommending to the review team of the ones that should qualify pending at the qualifications that are required, correct?
Yes, Ms. Bliss. So all HR would be doing would be screening out any applicant, he or she, that does not meet the minimal qualifications. Anyone he or she that does would then be kicked over to the review committee to pick out whether it's a 2 or 3 finalists if it's that many.
May I ask a question, Mayor?
Yes, sure.
So HR will be the receptacle of receiving all of the applications. They will vet whether or not people meet the minimum requirements. And then that batch will come to the 4-person committee.
4-person committee, yeah.
Which will then narrow it down to a certain number of candidates, of finalists.
Right. I mean, at least probably 2, if not 3, but.
So I would ask for 3 because I think 2 is I think there's always good an option.
It's usually 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And so out of those finalists would then come before the full committee.
Yes. Now, that would be public knowledge.
Correct.
And at that point in time.
In a public meeting, because
Public
the whole
meeting,
board will be there.
and at that point in time, sometimes I've seen it happen, whether here or other areas in the state or country, when once all of a sudden a person, he or she might pull out saying, listen, I don't want to be mentioned publicly anymore. But I agree with you, whether two, or usually you're right, Denise, it's three. And then it goes before the school committee.
Last time we only had two because one dropped out at the last
That's
minute.
right.
But, and the time before, was it 5? Was it, trying to think what they had the time before, but it was definitely more than 2. I think it might have been 5.
What was
Was it
that?
3?
I think it was more like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was at least 3. It could have been 4.
Come on.
Yeah, the last
Prior.
superintendent.
Prior.
Right.
But you had.
Dr. Ingram, when Dr. Ingram, I thought we had, it was at least 3. I mean, 4, it might have been 5. One of them dropped out at the end too. But
I
yeah.
remember 3.
That was during the control. That was during the control.
There was.
Yeah. But all very similar.
Yep. So that would be, if it's agreeable, whether the committee wants to vote up and down on the question, the period. But if that would be that you would have HR, the Mass Association School Committee representative, whether it's Mr. Kuchar or not. You would have the vice chair, and you would have another appropriate school committee member on the school committee, and then it would proceed that way.
When does our contract expire with Bulkley Richardson?
We have to give them notice. So we can go through July without a problem if we have to.
When does it expire? Or is it just rolling in 30 days? Or?
Yeah, and we have a date, we have a notification for the termination of it, yes.
So there's no end on the contract, it's just a 30-day notification?
Initially, it had an end, and then the initial contract was for, if I recall, 3 years, and when we renewed it, it was with just terminated by either party with the notice, yes.
If all questions have been asked or exhausted, if the committee wants to move forward with it, it would be that moving forward with the 4-member review committee, 2 being encompassed of the vice chair and another appropriate school committee member, HR with Attorney Melissa Shea, and then a representative from the Mass Association of School Committees. That would be the process if it's to be considered or voted up or down.
Can we also get a timeline very similar to like when we vote on when the budget rolls out? So like we know when this is all taking place?
Well, would we, I mean, if we vote to do it, I would assume we want to advertise as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's actually another good point. So when we talk about applicant pools, and I know that HR has some specific places where they advertise so that there are BIPOC candidates or there's a diverse enough pool. Are we going to be looking to do the same with this particular position?
Attorney Shea, if you can clarify.
That's a great suggestion, Denise. I mean, typically when you're advertising for superintendent, you go into those educational venues. The group that you mentioned, that might be, well, there must be venues like that where it should be that the advertisement should be sent to them because they would know the different people in the, especially that group that you mentioned, I think, to make sure that it's out there among that community.
Could you clarify, Shay?
Sure. So with attorneys, there are different groups, as Ms. Hurst mentioned. COSA, the Massachusetts Council of School Attorneys, is actually associated with the Mass Association of School Committees. Glenn Kuchar is an ex officio member of that, so we could certainly consult with him. In addition, with regard to attorneys in Massachusetts, a lot of the postings are in, correct. So like the Mass Association, Massachusetts Lawyers Weekly is the publication that it's a publication for attorneys, but advertisements for attorneys in firms and different organizations, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and all of that appears in that publication. We would certainly post on our website, and our postings get picked up by various things like Indeed. So we would post in places where the person with the minimum qualifications the best qualifications that we could attract would be posted in all of these different publications.
And I mean, everything being equal, I always say, you know, you try to stay local, everything being equal on it. So, but it's gonna be a very specialized, I used to say in RFQs, but a very specialized advertisement. I was saying that, you know, for he or she, you have to have knowledge and experience in handling these situations.
Correct.
So are we in agreement with, before we move forward in the overall question, that it would encompass a 4-member committee with obviously HR, because you have to have the cross the T's and dot the I's, the Mass Association of School Committees, whether it's Glenn Kuchar or his recommendation, 2 school committee members, 1 obviously encompassing the vice chair, whether he or she is always on that, and the other appropriate school committee member to be on that, to do the what we call the semi-type review after minimum qualifications. If you don't meet the minimum those are ruled out by HR, and then that committee would then look to point out, I agree with Mr. 3, probably 3, to come before the full school committee for a final vote on he or she that would take the reins and be completely dedicated to the school committee, school department on the legal issues that we face daily. So that's what it would be, whether school committee wants to vote it up or down to move forward on it with that process.
Mayor, I'd be happy to make that motion if everyone's in agreement at this point as to the process.
So can I just, the motion is made by Attorney Peter Murphy with clarification. It'd be it's a 4-person committee, Patty, with vice chair, another appropriate school committee member, and Mass Association of School Committee representative, and of course HR to do the cursory reviews, and then
Melissa Shea on the committee.
Well, Melissa Shea, she's the HR director, and then they would eventually narrow it down to, as Ms. Hurst said, probably 3 finalists, and those 3 finalists would then come before the full school committee for a vote of consideration. If everybody's okay with that or not, just you can chime in right now. I guess that's the motion.
I would second that.
Okay, so motion made by Attorney Peter Murphy, seconded by Ms. Hurst. It was good discussion. We have a protocol. Melissa, you know how, I mean, usually a turnaround to getting something is 10 or 2 weeks or 15 days, and then the process will go from there. Okay, so motion by Attorney Peter Murphy, seconded by Ms. Hurst. So this is, again, for the viewing audience, this is again here to move to approve the reorganization of legal services, sort of going back to the future, the former way it was. So you is to approve the reorganization of legal services. Again, motion made by Attorney Peter Murphy, seconded by Ms. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Madam, good discussion. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Ms. Naylor,
She's still on?
Ms. Naylor, Latonia, you still, I know she lost her feed.
Well, she did say she might have to leave early, but
She said she'd have to leave early.
Let me just ask.
looks like
Latonia,
she's
are you
not
there?
on. It looks
Ms.
like she's
Naylor?
not on.
oh, okay.
Okay, all right. I know she had
Naylor?
a family.
Absent. Attorney Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes, this matter passes.
Can I ask a question while we still got everybody here? When it gets to 3 candidates, now we're obviously going to be in summer. School committee people, do you think you'd like to have one night, interview all 3? Do you want to have separate nights? I mean, I know our time's going to be really kind of screwed up during the summertime. What do you, some input? I mean, do you, one night and interview all 3 candidates in one night, or another way?
I know in the past, when we've done superintendent searches, I've done police commissioner searches, when you get to the 2 or 3 finals, it was one night and one day, and then you make your decision.
Just looking for input.
So,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would be in favor of it being in one evening or one day.
One evening.
I would
I mean, that's the way we've always done it. Yeah.
But just trying to be respectful of people's time, it would make, I think it makes it easier for committee, but I just wanted to see what people thought.
So Ms. Hurst is good with that, Attorney Murphy's good with that. In my tenure, that's the way we've done it. Mrs. Barbara, is that thumbs up, Barbara? Okay, Barbara's okay with that.
2 thumbs up.
Thanks, Barb. So the school committee is good with that then?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. One night or one afternoon or whatever, late afternoon, early evening, that's, okay. All right, well, then we have good. Okay, so next item, thank you, that was good discussion, thorough discussion, and for the public too.
Mayor, can I just,
yes.
I have a child care issue with my youngest son, so I'm gonna have to sign off for a minute here.
Is there, on these voting items here, is there anything that there's gonna be heavy discussion on that we can move through quickly, or no, or something, we got a grant, we gotta accept that? The easement, that's and you have the schedule, and then virtual, which has been vetted, I believe, in subcommittee anyway. So if there's not a lot of discussion, we might be able to move right through these, Peter. I don't want to hold you up on childcare, though.
I mean, I'm going to need to sign off. I might be able to sign back on again in about 15
Okay,
minutes.
no, family comes first. So family comes. Go ahead.
Something's come up, and I have to go get it.
No, family comes first, Pete. Go, so you handle that. Don't worry about it. Okay, we'll move to.
All right, thanks, guys.
We'll move to V. V is approve the expenditure of $288,000 from the Mass Department of Health for the FY21, FY23 after-school enrichment program. Grant Superintendent Warwick, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This has been through Budget and Finance and already vetted. Kim Wells is on to go through quickly to give us a quick overview.
Kim, please.
Thank you, Superintendent and Mayor. This grant is from the Mass Department of Health, and the hope is that we'll be able to use this grant to provide academic and social emotional learning supports and enrichment opportunities to high school students throughout all of our secondary schools who are either at risk of or struggling with substance abuse.
Very good. Any questions or comments from Ms. Wells' explanation?
It got a unanimous vote at the subcommittee.
Very good, and that's great that we continue to be successful on grants. No other questions or comments? Is there a motion on the floor, please?
So moved. Motion
by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor, absent. Attorney Murphy, absent. Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham?
Yes.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient votes, the matter passes. Thank you. W is to approve granting an easement over the Springfield Public Schools property. And again, it's the High School of Commerce. I'm a stickler on that. To Eversource and to install conduits to improve electrical services in the area. Superintendent Warwick?
Yeah, this has been through Building and Grounds Subcommittee, and I had approval. It's just for an easement so that they can run an electrical conduit along the side of Commerce, going up the side of the building. So there's a little picture that we sent out with it, but it goes up the side of the building, doesn't affect anything, and it was recommended for approval. Pat, do you have anything to add on that?
No,
it's going
to improve reliability in the area, including for commerce. So it'll add some redundancy in case the electrical service goes down.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in the grass area.
It's going to be in the grass area near the sidewalk off to the side, so it's not going to disrupt anything?
No. And they'll put if there's any piece left open, which there probably typically isn't, they'll put some fencing along it, you know, if for some reason. Usually they'll do a section, bury it that night. They don't leave a trench open.
No. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Collins, or second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor, absent. Attorney Murphy, absent. Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote. This matter passes. Thank you very much. X is to approve the school committee meeting schedule for 2021-2022 school year. Superintendent Ward, please.
Yeah, a calendar was drawn up similar to past years and sent out to everybody. That really fulfills the need. So I recommend we move with that.
And again, this is the school committee meeting
calendar.
just to clarify for the viewing audience.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments?
Hopefully we won't have to change this as often as we change the calendar this year.
Yeah, but it's always flexible and we can add meetings or so.
Hearing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Can I just ask a quick question? Because I didn't
Sure,
see
sure.
it. I'm sorry. How many public sessions did we have on that?
You have,
Three.
you see, one,
Should be three.
hold on, 2, 3, 4. No, you have 4.
There's four.
Okay.
You have 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
so we
asking.
added, I believe we added one. So now you have,
Oh, we had one open.
I think we
yeah,
got
wait a
five.
minute.
I think it's 5.
16th, number 1. Now, we also have the students speaking too, but public, on Speak Out, 1, 2, on the
No, not the
second.
student one, Mayor, the public.
No, these
Public?
are, this is,
Oh,
public
okay.
Speak Out.
Okay, no problem.
Public Speak, 16, Public Speak Out 1,
I count 4.
Public
There's 4.
Speak Out, the
Because we're
second,
asking
number
people,
2,
yeah.
Public Speak Out, straight Public Speak Out, 28, that's 3. I missed one, there's, on the
It's April
17th,
28th.
St. Pat, so it's 4 public Speak Outs.
Yeah.
It's one more than we did last year, I believe.
I believe the committee had asked us.
Yeah, asked that.
Great, thank you.
It's 4, okay. So is there a motion to accept the school committee meeting schedule?
So moved.
So
Motion by Vice Chair. Everybody so moved it. Okay, is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor, absent. Attorney Murphy, absent. Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Thank you very much. Y is to approve the virtual school proposal. I really want to, before I turn it over to Superintendent Warwick, I want to thank Superintendent Warwick and his staff, and I want to thank the school committee members because we've had extensive conversation on this publicly, and I know the subcommittee's done it. So Superintendent Warwick, please.
So thank you, Mayor. We brought this before the committee before in a proposal. Most of it isn't changed from that original proposal. We did send it to DESE for vetting and feedback and made some changes according to that. DESE's actually using our proposal as a model for other districts to take a look at. So it's a solid proposal. Paul and Stefania did a great job putting this together. So I'd like them to take you through the pieces and emphasize the changes from the last time we presented to you, so we can go through this proposal tonight.
Thank you, Paul. Mr. Foster.
Paul and Stefania, you're on.
Mr. Shella.
Great, thank you. And we'll move through this quickly. And as the superintendent said, we're just going to highlight, we're going to move through the slides, and we have some slides in here that you've seen before when we presented the preliminary plan. We're going to move through those quickly just to highlight the things that are different based on some of the feedback we got from DESE. And so the feedback, as the superintendent said, DESE said that our preliminary proposal essentially substantially addressed, in their words, substantially addressed all the requirements for a virtual school. They asked for a little more detail. And as the superintendent said, they also asked us for permission to share our preliminary plan with the other interested districts as a potential model for them to follow. you can see there, they asked, they didn't really ask, there wasn't really anything missing. They asked for more detail around the mission and educational program, around access and equity, around planning for success. And really they were talking about sort of how are we hiring and holding staff accountable. And then they wanted some more detail about how we were going to hold the school accountable and monitor, as well as a specific question about meals, which we'll speak to in a moment. This slide you've seen before, so I'm going to move quickly past it. But the goals, we're both trying to create long-term a really great virtual school as just another educational option for families in Springfield, but in the short term, also creating a space for children and families for whom there is lingering concern about being in person in the fall. So we did put together a mission statement and vision statement specific to the school. So obviously we have our district mission and vision. You can see here, I won't read it to you. I believe, well, we certainly had shared the plan with you. I think that plan was sent out to you all last Thursday, the revised plan. And it does include this mission and vision. So focus on equity and quality, integrity and commitment in the vision. So I'll pause here for a second because the last time we presented to you, you saw the numbers in the left-hand column, the numbers of students expressing interest. Since that time, and we had shared with you in May that we were going to open up applications for students, just in the interest of time, needing to let students submit an application expressing their interest. So on the rightmost column, you see the number of applications we've received thus far for enrollment in the virtual school. It's about 185 total at this stage. And you can see it's pretty evenly spread. The one grade level where we have not gotten a lot of interest yet is kindergarten. Although we're not sure if that's because some families don't register their children for kindergarten until the summer. But you can see we have interest pretty evenly spaced across the other grade levels. Enrollment process, the enrollment portal's been up since the beginning of June, and families have until July 1st to apply to the virtual school. It's on our website. We're, in a plan we're submitting, we're saying up to 50 students per grade. We are feeling comfortable that we're going to be able to offer a spot in the virtual school to every interested student in grades, certainly in grades 1 to 12, and kindergarten, we're still watching the enrollment numbers. So we're comfortable that we're not going to have to run a lottery at this point for this year. And then I'm going to hand over to Stefania to run through a few of the programmatic features of the school.
So on this slide with leadership and staffing, it's similar. It's actually exactly the same as the one that you saw last month with the staffing. And these are positions that have been posted in Recruit and Hire, like we post every position. Applications and interviews. This is asked how we were going to do this. So far for the positions, we've received over 150 applications for educators that are interested in teaching, and those are internal as well as many external. So we will hire based on the enrollment. So we have to see how many students we have before we hire. And then candidates who do make it to a final interview round participate in a virtual lesson to demonstrate that they can teach virtually, since we know it is different than teaching in person. The state asked us for sample schedules. And so in here, we included an elementary sample schedule, which just had all the courses that students would be taking. And then on the next slide, we had secondary courses that the secondary students would be taking. When we talked about teaching and learning innovations, we had talked about wanting to create co-led blocks that were a humanities block and a STEM block. We talked about computer science and project-based learning, as well as meeting with parents with progress reports in addition to report cards. The teaching and learning core program, that's the same as before. It talks about the schedule, how many minutes they'll be in class, the curriculum that they'll be using, assessments that they'll have to take, and the interventions that will be available to students. We aren't going to read this whole slide, but they had asked us for additional curriculum detail. And this is what we actually put into the plan, the exact pieces of curriculum that we use. that are standards based and meet the requirements. Student mentoring and advising, that's the same. We think it's going to be really important for to make those connections with students that are remaining remote. And so they will have a block where they meet with an adult in the building in a small group. There'll also be student-led goal setting structures implemented with the faculty advisors, and younger students would be assigned a peer mentor from older students. Previously, we had spoken about what student supports would look like in activities. So they will have a wellness block, they'll have the advisory, student orientation, they'll have their interventions that they need. We would look into community partnerships for students and families, and then they would be able to participate in sports with another one of our middle schools or high schools. And then we would look into virtual and in-person extracurricular offerings also. And then finally, the family engagement. We have posted for the parent facilitator. We think it's going to be the outreach to parents is going to be really important, that we have that connection. There would be a parent advisory council. They would participate in the parent teacher home visit project, and there would be monthly communication. Paul?
Yeah, and I know Pat spoke to this. I think you asked a question about this the last time we presented on the virtual school, and Desi also asked the question. So I think Pat spoke to this already, but Pat, if you want to just recap kind of where we are on the food service part.
Absolutely. So normally the USDA requires congregate feeding, which means all meals need to be consumed in a congregate setting, like a cafeteria, or as we do breakfast in the classroom, So during the pandemic, we got some waivers where we could allow the kids to pick up the meals at the meal sites, or even parents to pick up meals for them. But unless the USDA approves the waiver, I don't believe we're going to be allowed to do meals for students. DESE's telling us we need to, but they are going to need to support us. We will do everything we can to serve meals to kids if it's allowed. We're working out different delivery options or meal pickup options, and we just need to make sure that we're legally able to do it.
And then we had shared this slide with you last time. So the short version on technology is we're going to provide all of the technology necessary so students in the virtual school can fully participate. And that's the quick version of the updates made to the virtual school plan since the preliminary plan we presented to you at the end of May.
Thank you, Mr. Foster, Mr. Fischella, and Mr. Roach. Are there any questions or comments?
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Chair Collins.
There was a fair number of kids, in the high school years. Has DESE given any consideration as to whether those high school age students would be allowed to participate in sports, whether they could join?
We could co-op it.
We can co-op it?
We can co-op it.
Can we co-op it for different sports?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Mr. Gresham?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Superintendent, if you can explain the difference between the virtual school and a parent wishing to homeschool their child.
Sure. A virtual school is offering a complete array of services on all the supports with highly qualified teachers and all the technology, and has a comprehensive school day. Homeschooling, a parent applies for homeschooling, and then they do everything on their own. So it's not associated with the school system at all. They just apply to us to do it. If they submit the documents, they can do it on their own. So this would provide a whole comprehensive program, whereas homeschooling, a parent is just taking it on and doing it by themselves.
So does the school committee has to approve of a homeschooling?
The department has to approve a plan from each parent that meets the requirements of the state. So a parent who wants to homeschool has to submit a plan, and we have someone in Stefania's office that reviews it to see if it meets the criteria, and then it's approved.
Oh, so the school committee doesn't have to approve?
No, The
No.
department does all the work on that, yeah. But that's an individual improvement following the state requirements.
All right, so so my next question is, so there won't be a lottery, right? For virtual school?
Paul,
Yep.
could you go over that again?
Sure. I think, we had planned to have a cap of 50 per grade level. I
Right,
think knowing the current circumstance with families and the concerns about COVID, we feel comfortable that we're going to be able to accept any student and accommodate any student who wants a virtual program this fall. In future years, if the virtual school becomes, more and more popular, we would then follow a lottery process like we do with all of our other, with our magnet schools and our high schools. We're not anticipating doing that for the coming year because of the unique circumstances around COVID.
all right. So students with disabilities, will they be able to do virtual?
Students with most disabilities could do this, but students who have IEPs calling for highly specialized programs that are located in only certain schools with very detailed services, this program wouldn't be appropriate for them.
It'd be more hands-on.
Yeah. But the large percentage of special needs students would be able to benefit from it, as well as ELL students.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gresham. Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor,
The
may I
hearing-
ask?
Ms. Hurst, go ahead.
Yes. So I understood what Mr. Roach was saying, and I know he shared it with us at the last meeting where this was discussed. But are we informing parents ahead of time that, if you opt for virtual school, there is a high possibility that you may not get lunches? Because I think there's a sentiment out there that might continue because it's what we had been doing over the course of the last 20 months. So are we making sure that families know that that's not gonna come with this virtual school?
Well, so
Paul,
Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is we believe for next year, we're going to be able to work it out because we have a waiver for next year. Pat, is that right?
No.
Okay, so that's my misunderstanding.
Yep. We have a call into DESE to understand exactly what they're going to allow and not allow to do, and they have not returned our call. They're, my understanding, completely swamped with everything that's going on at the moment, but we have a call into their food and nutrition service department. Rob Leshen's their director there, and we're just waiting for a call back. I would assume he's following up with the USDA to get more information as well, because it's not really even DESE's decision at the end of the day. It's the USDA. It's a federal regulation.
So Ms. Hurst's point is well taken, and maybe you should put out there that the likelihood is that you will not be served.
Or there's a good chance, especially after
if that
next
should
year.
if that should change and we are okayed by the USDA or federal, we will do. But we want them, eyes wide open going into it, that you would not, food service would not be part of this. Not that we don't want to do it, but we're not allowed to do it by the USDA. And if something changes, it'll be an added benefit to them. If we're upfront about it, maybe that it could change some people's minds. Ms. Hurst, you're right. It could change some people's minds.
It could, and maybe not many, or maybe it won't at all. I just think that because we've spent the last 20 months doing so, and we're doing some over the summer, that some parents may, or families, correct. And I think that the wording is also really important, that because of USDA guidelines, it's not that we as a district don't want to provide that.
Yeah. And we'll make sure there's a real clear communication, so people go in with their eyes wide open around the potential. We don't know how it's going to go. Absolutely.
Very good point.
Yeah, it's a great point.
And then I think my last question.
Sorry. No, go ahead, Ms. Hurst. No, you have the floor.
So my last question is, do we have a pipeline for teachers who are interested in teaching virtually? Like, do we think we have enough that are going to be able to staff and fulfill these virtual grades?
Yeah, we had, we put up postings and we had a large number of applicants. So we're screening them now, but we had a really large number of applicants. I think people are interested in something different. A lot of our teachers that tried the remote liked it. And then other people that are interested in this concept. So we have a pretty good pool. Steph is working on Stefania's working on the pool right now, but it's pretty robust.
And does it have its own principal, or how does that work?
Yep, we'll be appointing a principal.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair Collins.
Since Paul's got a handle on the head count, Pat Roach, can you explore with Sodexo whether they might, even if USDA doesn't approve, do they have funds where we could do it even if we don't get reimbursed? Is there any way, I mean, at least ask and see whether they've got some type of a fund within the company or something that, as long as they know the cost.
I'd be happy to follow up on that.
But I think in the wording, as Ms. Hurston needs to put forward.
I wouldn't want to change the wording, but
wording
just
would
check
have
on
to be that current, so, well, it does change everybody's mind or not, but then, but also to the moms and dads or the family members, that they know that the, whether breakfast, lunch would have to be provided in, in their own home for their students to get prepared. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion on the floor? Well, motion on the floor?
Move we approve.
Motion to approve from Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hirsch. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Naylor, absent. Attorney Murphy, absent. Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes, this matter passes. Thank you. We'll now move to informational items. This is the seal of biliteracy recipients for 2021. Superintendent Warwick, and we have a list of students here also that won the awards.
Yeah, so just like Carrie Martins, to give us an update on the program, we've reported each year since Carrie was able to put this program in place for our students. It's a great opportunity. So Carrie, if you can just give us a little background, and then maybe you could read the list of the students who qualify.
Carrie, if you wanted to read the list, I would try my best. I think I can get through most of them, but I would be honored if you wanted to read the list for me, so I don't butcher any names.
Okay, of course, absolutely. So thanks everyone, and thanks kids. The kids are here listening. I guess you've gotten to see how much work goes into a school committee, and you've gotten to see everything that everyone gets to do here. So thank you. On behalf of Ann Fairder, the Director of World Language, she's here with us too. We want to honor some brilliant students from both this year, and we included from last year too, because we didn't get to honor them, who have earned the seal of biliteracy. So 3 years ago, we applied to be one of the first districts in Western Mass to award kids with a seal. And it's both an award and a certification that goes on their student diplomas and their transcripts that certifies them as being both bilingual and biliterate. To qualify, they need to obtain very high scores on their English MCAS and pass an extremely difficult second language assessment that was approved by DESE. So having obtained this award, the students can enter college or career with a certification that's really reserved for a select few that have the ability to not only speak, but read and write in another language at an expert level. So to all of you at home watching, we are so proud of you. We congratulate you and wish you the absolute best. So without further ado, I will start with the seal of biliteracy with distinction, meaning these kids had practically perfect scores. From Putnam, we have Nashali Morales Rosario, Angelina Cajejas Collazo, Angelica Marie Acosta. And now for the regular seal from Putnam, we have Jesly Escalante, Hennessy Gil Torres, Jadiel Lopez Figueroa, Edgardo Nieves Pereira, Julio Rodriguez Peña, Jasleen Santiago, Jelizabeth Navarro, Martha Payano Navarro, Paola Nicole Vega, Fabiola Rivera, Julemi Amber Ortiz, Mary Lynn, Marilyn Galarza, and from Central, we have Shayna Reyes, Valerie Sanchez Salcedo, Giovanna Fernandez, Diego Robles, who I had in kindergarten,
Wow.
Angeli Lopez, Janice Negron Resto, and last but not least, from Renaissance, we have Joliani Santiago Rivera. So congratulations.
Ms. Martins, do we have Duyen Tran too from Putnam?
Yes, Duyan is our first, our first student that actually got the seal in Vietnamese. So the first student in all of Springfield who.
Way to go, Duyen.
Yeah, really great. Yeah, wow.
Congratulations to all the students, and thank you for bearing with us here too. We wanted to make sure that we recognized you on your success and your versatility, and wish you good health and continued success. I don't know if any school committee members would like to say anything more congratulating. Ms. Farrader does. I see her hand up there.
I would like to say congratulations to that lovely Vietnamese woman with whom I worked, and it's called Zin Chuk Mong.
Very good.
That's how you say congratulations in Vietnamese.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Very good. They've
Yeah,
been very
Zin Chuk Mong.
good friends. You live amongst them in Forest Park. They're very supportive. Kelly Martins, thank you. I think I could have got through some of these names, but you did them very, very well, and that's important to the students and the family members who are watching. So congratulations. I don't know if there's any other comments and congratulatory remarks.
We're very proud of all of them, Mayor. And they, like so many others, make Springfield system proud every day.
So,
and Carrie and Ann have done a great job on making this program available, so I would just thank them as well. Thank you.
Congrats to the biliteracy squad there. We're proud of you all. If there's no other questions or comments, we're going to now move to another person we're proud of, Kathy Mastronardi, Paraprofessionals College Scholarship Opportunity, Superintendent Warwick. And say hi to your mom, Kathy. I'll see you in church.
I'll let her know.
4 o'clock Mass at Mount Carmel, Saturdays.
So Kathy always goes above and beyond the call and is always coming up with new ideas. And she called me some weeks ago and we talked about this in one of our meetings. So I asked her to bring it to school committee. But some of our best pool of future teachers is our paraprofessionals.
Yeah.
And the biggest hurdle is affording the bachelor's degree, going through getting the associates and bachelor's and getting through the program, and then we can hire them as teachers. They have great training, and typically our pool of candidates is more diverse than most traditional teacher pools of candidates. So it's a great program for us from a lot of venues, and Kathy pulled this together through her union. So without any further ado, it's a great program. I'd like her to just go over it with you, but this kind of takes care of all the college tuition for our paras to get them through to a bachelor's degree. So Kathy, please roll through this for us, because this is a great program your union put together.
Yes, thank you for having me tonight. It is a great program, and we this program is available to us because of our affiliation with the AFL-CIO through their Union Plus program. So, and it is free college for your associate's degree and your bachelor's degree. I will say up front that you do have to be a union member. So it is free, but you do have to pay union dues, which are about $450 a year right now. But these are all the folks that are eligible. I mean, it's not just the union member themselves. It's their children, their spouse, their grandchildren. So it really, their siblings, any financial dependents they have, and even their parents. So it really is, for a union member, it's really available for a wide variety of their family members, which also I think is would be helpful in recruiting and retention, because we know that grandmas always want to help their kids and their grandkids, and being able to provide them pre-college is certainly a way to do that. So it's considered a last dollar scholarship. You do have to fill out a FAFSA. All the classes are online. You can choose what you want. I do like this program because they do have advising and tutoring available to support the students. And I did some research on the reviews, and the program got really good reviews. And it even includes their online books. So it's everything. It's tuition, fees, ebooks. So it covers all the costs. And they have a number of different associate's degree programs. Of course, we're very interested in the teacher education, but there's other lines of work they can also go into. And it's also important to note that it is fully accredited through the University of Ohio, and it has been recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. And once you get your associate's degrees, you can transfer those credits to a 4-year college program. And this year, they just started the bachelor's degrees completion program. So you can roll right in from the associate's into the bachelor's degree. And there are less programs in that, but teacher education is one of them, which is what we're looking for. So that's important. But they also have business administration and an interdisciplinary study. And this is also through the Ohio State University program. It's all online. It's recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. So they're fully accredited programs, which is wonderful. And they don't cost anything except for having to be a union member. So, I mean, I think this is great for a lot of reasons. I think for retention, for current paras that maybe would like to become licensed educators sometimes, the hurdle of the financial responsibilities involved in continuing their education are very difficult. And then also for recruitment and diversity. I mean, I think this would be a great way to recruit folks, especially our SPS current and recent graduates who may not have another financial avenue to be able to continue their education. So to become a student to a para, and then hopefully eventually into a teacher, because homegrown is best, and it would be great to see some of our kids in the classroom. So I think this is a really good opportunity. And I know I really zipped through that, but I will send you the presentation and the sheets that go along with it so you can look it over. But I think it's a great program and certainly would help our folks financially to get out of school without having less debt. So does anybody have any questions?
Well, Kathy, I think it's fantastic, and you extend it to, the family members of those paras, and I think that's outstanding. And anytime you can cut that nut down, that's huge. And as Superintendent Warwick indicated, paras, that is a rung of the ladders, understanding hands-on, moving into becoming a teacher. So, I mean, I was saying to Danny while you were speaking, are you serious? Wow, this associate's, bachelor's, all covered and extended to family members who have the interest. So it's a positive pipeline. But I'll turn it over to the school committee. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you to you and your federation.
Oh, well, thank you. I learn about the programs and just bring them forward, and hopefully they can help someone. We have quite a few paras.
40,000 books. You've been great. Whether it's students or members, but I'll turn over to school committee members. Any questions or comments, Superintendent Warwick?
It's just a wonderful program. And as the superintendent said earlier, some of the best sources of professional educators are from the paras. often they just lack the confidence or the ability to go to school in order to move on. But I tell you, anybody who's been a para are some of our best teachers. Yeah. There's no more proof of that than Darcia Milner, who's now a chief schools officer, who started as a paraprofessional.
Darcia is great.
You know, the number of folks who come out, and a lot of times they have experience in special education and some of the most difficult, challenging positions, and the folks who are paras first that elevate to those positions have just done an absolutely spectacular job. So it really helps us with our pool. It helps us with our diversity, and what a beautiful opportunity. But Kathy's always coming up with creative programs to partner with us to elevate the school system, the public schools, and really provide great programs for our families. So thank you for being such a great partner, Kathy, and always thinking out of the box. But this is an absolutely spectacular opportunity for our folks who want to take advantage of it. So we so appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I know that our paras, this year has been a great year for the paras. A number of them took advantage of the emergency license, and they've been working in the classrooms, and we need great paras in Springfield. So the paras that have chosen to be career paras are much needed, and a very important and wonderful part of the Springfield Public Schools. But if their dream is to become a licensed educator, I think that part of my job is to help them do that, and this helps them to do that. And I love getting the phone calls, and I've gotten tons of them this year from para educators who will become moving into the licensed educator role next year, which I think is wonderful. And it's not just the new paras. I mean, 3 of the paras have been paras for over 20 years, and they're now in the position to move on, and they've got lots of experience, and I expect that they will be great teachers. So it's really, really wonderful. And they're Springfield residents, which is another wonderful thing. So a lot of them graduated from the Springfield Public Schools. So, you know, it all goes around, and it's so great for our kids.
Thank you, Kat. Any questions or comments, school committee members?
I would just add, I mean, thank you, Mr. I would add that it is a great program and a great opportunity. And when the superintendent talked about it being like a pipeline and how it creates diversity, I think it's a actual, real, tangible example of equity, both gender and race equity, because we know that a lot of our paras are women. And I just think that that's a concrete example of a pathway towards equity. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Commissioners. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, paras.
Well, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night and a nice summer. This is your last meeting, right? Yay.
No.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. It is? No, not technically. No, we'll
have to have that one.
We got to have that one meeting to settle another contract.
Oh,
so.
well, that's true, but okay, almost your last meeting. Happy summer, everyone.
Thanks.
You always cheer us up, Cap, and thank you for being so positive and such a positive force.
Thank you. Well, I'll be talking to you, Superintendent, about that other little matter. So have a nice night.
Boy, did you tee that up, Kathy?
It's another good thing.
I always love hearing.
Okay.
All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
We needed a little levity. C is the anticipated boundary assignment changes for 2021-2022 school year related to the opening of the new Brightwood Lincoln School. I know it's very near and dear the heart to school committee member Maria Perez. Superintendent Ward, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. When we went down and did the neighborhood meetings down at Brightwood and Lincoln, and Maria did lead that effort, setting them all up and helping us through those meetings, we had a lot of discussions that all of the students who presently attend Brightwood and Lincoln would have the opportunity to attend the new school. And then to fill the rest of the school appropriately, we tweaked some other boundaries to get the right numbers into the school, because there's going to be more capacity in this building than there was in the last two buildings. So we're going to serve 100% of those students, and then we tweak the boundaries to put some other students into the school to get it to the capacity that MSBA is looking for. So there's a little increase there. So Paul's going to make a quick presentation about the boundary tweaks to get us to the numbers that we committed to with DESE. And but we lived up to our commitment that 100% of the kids who went there have the option of staying there in the new school if they want to. Paul?
Great, thanks, Superintendent. So as the superintendent said, part of what prompted these boundary changes related to the new building was this requirement to, when we got funding by MSBA, they wanted to make sure that when the new building opened, that we were, enrolling students up close to capacity. And so Brightwood in particular is somewhat under the capacity that they'll have in the new building. And so that's what really prompted us to take a look at the boundaries. So the three objectives for the boundary changes I'm going to share with you. One was what I just said, increasing enrollment at the newly opened Brightwood. There is a change we're making to a downtown attendance zone that was previously shifted from Bowles to DeBerry. We're going to move it to Harena for the 21-22 school year. And there's one change that we're making to the boundaries for future students. This is the objective 3, to reduce a really long distance to the new Brightwood Lincoln building. It will not be applied to any current Lincoln students. It will only be applied to future students living in those zones. So the first change, this is in order to increase the enrollment at Brightwood, and also Harena was one of our elementary schools closest to its capacity. So really accomplishing two things at once: increasing the enrollment at Brightwood to be compliant with the expectations of MSBA, and reducing some of the crowding at Harena. The two areas you see outlined in blue, we're shifting from the Brightwood attendance zone from the Harena attendance zone to the Brightwood attendance zone. And so the one on the upper left of the map was a really obvious move, because that's the only part of the Brightwood neighborhood that's west of the railroad tracks that was currently not going to Brightwood. And it just makes sense for students in that neighborhood to all walk into Brightwood. And then you also see the zone in the lower right. We're moving that zone from Harena to Brightwood, and they'll also have a really reasonable walk. And with the new tunnel that's being put in, which the tunnel, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but the tunnel is right here, extends where Arch Street is. And so students in this zone in the lower right are going to be able to go through the tunnel and just walk up Plainfield to the new facility. For our second change, this is that downtown zone I talked about. This is an area that's just I know all the street labels are not there. It's State Street, Main Street, Lyman Street, Chestnut. So it really is the downtown. It does include the Chestnut Towers. So it's not a lot of housing, but some of the housing that's in that zone is high density. That's a zone that had previously attended Bowles Elementary by bus. We made a shift to send that zone to DeBerry. Unfortunately, it's within the 1.5 miles of DeBerry. And so that's a lengthy walk up a steep hill for our young people. And so we made a decision to do something different with that zone. And that zone we're shifting to Harena from DeBerry. And so we'll be able to provide a bus to take those students from that neighborhood up to Harena. And then lastly, this is the one I said, I just want to be super clear, reiterating what the superintendent said. No currently enrolled Lincoln and Brightwood students are not going to be assigned to the new school. However, there's these two areas. One is the Atwater neighborhood, and the other is just this one piece of Narragansett Street, which are really pretty far from the new location for Lincoln. So those are currently zoned to Lincoln. The change we're making is for the future. So for new students who live in those neighborhoods, who are to enroll in the Springfield Public Schools, if they're in the Atwater neighborhood, they would have a nice short walk up to Glenwood. And if they're on this stretch of Narragansett, they would just have a short walk up to Boland. So again, those changes are not being applied to any currently enrolled students. And so in terms of numbers, you can see in the chart, we have about 105 students being shifted from Harena to Brightwood. That zone in the downtown is about 54 students being shifted from DeBerry into Harena. So the net change is we're reducing the enrollment at Harena by about 51, while, as needed, based on the MSBA piece, increasing enrollment at Brightwood and solving for that kind of challenging walk for those students trying to go from the downtown up to the Berry. And that concludes my presentation.
Thanks. Thank you, Paul. Any questions or comments? Okay. Hearing, again, if there's no, Ms. Gresham, go ahead.
Barbara, you're muted. Barbara, you need to unmute.
You're muted, Barb.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the students that were originally going to DeBerry from downtown, they're not now, right? They won't be.
They're not. Yeah. Remember you called me because one of the families, we looked into it. It was a long walk. So by assigning those students to the open seats now at Arena, they'll qualify for a bus. So I think the parents will be ecstatic, Barbara. Thank you for bringing that.
I just want to make sure. Okay, all right, thank you.
You were the one who called on that. We appreciate it.
That's really a long.
Too much of a walk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Gresham.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. When will these assignments or changes take place for the upcoming school year, the fall, the new fall?
Yes. The new Brightwood Lincoln's online.
Yes.
And they've already been notified, or they will be notified at some point
Parents
through
have
the summer?
all been notified.
Okay.
Parents have already been notified. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? And again, we really thank School Committee Woman Maria Perez for her yeoman work on Brightwood Lincoln, as with Ms. Gresham, as we move forward with the Berry Homer too. If no other questions, we'll move to our comments, reports of standing committees, student relations, parent concerns. Ms. Gresham?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. B, Buildings Maintenance Committee, Vice Chair Collins?
We voted on the easement earlier.
Okay. C is Legislative Contracts Committee, Ms. Perez?
No report at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. D is Curriculum Programs Committee, Ms. Hurst, which I know we reported on a few things. Ms. Hurst?
Correct. Just the two previously voted on agenda items, Mr. Mayor.
And again, to all the subcommittee chairs, thank you for your work. A lot of the times behind the scenes, 2, 3, 4 hours, it's done in subcommittees. So sometimes you'll see us again vote on things, I don't say quickly, a discussion, but a lot of the work is done behind the scenes. So thank you to the subcommittees, especially the chair people. Budget Finance, Vice Chair Collins?
We voted on the grants and already at this meeting.
Thank you. Vocational Education Committee, Attorney Murphy had to leave, Family Matters. Technology Committee, same thing. School Committee Woman Latonia Layla had to leave for Family Matters. High School Safety Committee, School Safety Committee, Ms. Gresham, please.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Special Subcommittee Staff Demographics, Ms. Perez.
No report at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Again, report of the student representative, Nazir Jennings. And Naz, I know you were very, participated a lot, especially early on in the school year, but it's been topsy-turvy. We appreciate your efforts. I know we have something for him too,
Yeah.
So a little gift card for him too. So thanks, Naz, and we hope you have a great, safe, and good
And
summer.
it was nice to see him at graduation.
That's right. It was nice to see him at graduation. Report of the superintendent, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Our meals program, we were talking about the food insecurity issues in Springfield. Since we closed down last March 12th to the close of school, and we're going to continue with our food distribution during the summer, but we've distributed 7,994,681 meals as of the last day of school. We're going to continue the food distribution all through the summer. We have sites, again, located geographically throughout the city. We've got information out on that, but great job by Pat Roach and the team, and Sodexo and the team, but really stepped up for our community in a big way, and the community responded. And it shows you the need out there. We were talking about it earlier. It just shows the great need. So it was nice to see our team step up and try to help meet that need. A piece of good news, we got notified by Mass Mutual of $1 million grant that they're stepping up and then giving us funding to help with our City Connects program. They love the data. So a thank you to Dennis Duquette and Madeline Landau for stepping up. They gave us $3.3 million one time earlier. This is another $1 million grant. Summer programs, we're going to offer summer programs in all of our schools and all of our grades, both live and remote, to try to meet the needs of the learning loss. We're working hard to recruit and retain teachers. I thank the school committee for their support with a teacher contract, because certainly that's a big part of it, and we increased the pay for our folks. We also did some nice things for the paras that are working in the program where they take over for a teacher. They actually get the teacher pay, and Kathy was very cooperative on that. So that's a work in progress, but as well as offering the programs in all the schools, we have our special ed program, our ELL programs that are going district-wide. So it's a maximum effort to try to deal with the learning loss associated with the pandemic. We were pleased to see we got a vocational grant for $440,334 to help with our After Dark program. We got the After Dark program. We were the only one in the state that got the program going this year for some of our vocational areas and serves students. Because of the pandemic, no other district was able to get it going remote. We did, and we got a good start with Allied Health and Metal Fab. But with this grant and the support we've received, we're going to expand the program significantly next year, being able to offer Allied Health, Metal Fab, machine tool technology, IT, and automotive technology, and increase the number of students to well over 100 and beyond if we get the interest. So these will be students who are at SciTech and walk over and actually get the full vocational credit. So they're going to get enough hours in the After Dark program to get the vocational requirement. So they'll emerge with those appropriate certificates and the job preparation. So it's been a great job by George Johnson, Joao Alves, Kevin Lalim, and the staff at Putnam and SciTech pulling that together. And we're going to continue to expand those programs, but we've done more than anyone, and this grant reflects what the state thinks. And lastly, we handed out a contracts report, and if you have any questions on any of the contracts, Pat Rhodes could answer them for you.
If there's any questions.
That includes my report, Mayor.
Any questions or comments, Superintendent report? I'd like to give another shout out to Mass Mutual for 168, 169 years. They've always been there for us, and thank you, Roger Crandall, and of course to Dennis Duquette and Matty Landro. Education is very important in community efforts, so we appreciate their outstanding corporate citizenship. Any other questions or comments, Superintendent's report? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to unfinished business. Hearing none, we'll move to new business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
A motion by Vice Chair Collins. Is there a second?
Second.
Amen.
Second by Ms. Hurst. Roll call is required. Please call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Naylor, absent. Attorney Murphy, absent. Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient vote. This matter passes. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a good health to you and your families. Have a great summer, and God bless. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, folks.
Have a great
summer.
Good night.
Good
Good night. Good luck with your knee, Barb.
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow.
Good luck, Barb.
Yes.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
Barbara.
Let us know how you do.
And
I will.
I talked to
Thank you.
Janice, too.
Yes,
Good
I
luck.
will.